Next topic. Secretary of Defense orders U.S. Cyber Command to stand down on all Russian operations.
Nuh-uh. Is that real?
That's nuts.
I didn't believe it at first. I was like,
oh my lord. They finna get in bed with this mother.
At the very least, New York Times and MSNBC are also reporting it.
My head hurt.
Can you say it again?
What happened?
Yeah, say the order again.
The Secretary of Defense has ordered U.S. Cyber Command to stand down from all Russian operations.
Holy shit.
That is nuts.
Dive. Code red in 4 compartment middle level.
Torpedoes in the water!
No, I never have thought I was smart. I thought the people I dealt with were dumb, including you.
What are the 7 seas that we sail? To sail the 7
seas?
Because there's like a bajillion of them.
The Red Sea, the Black Sea.
The Black Sea?
Yeah, the Black Sea, the Mediterranean Sea. How many Indian? No, the Indian. That's an ocean, bitch.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, how can you only fucking pick 7 on the entire planet?
Yeah, no, for sure. There's a lot of seas. But no. Hold on, man. Is it only 7 seas? It's only 7 seas, I think.
No, there's more than 7, but you did get some of them.
Definitely more than 7. There's there's only 7 on the whole planet.
So sailing the 7 seas,
you gotta be a certain size.
Sailing the 7 seas can refer to like the ancient 7 seas.
Okay.
But used in modern context, it's like the oceans.
The oceans, right?
Arctic, okay. North Atlantic, South Atlantic, North Pacific, South Pacific, Indian, and Southern.
Yeah. The 7 seas is also sailing the 7 seas is also a leadership thing.
Is it seas like Christmas?
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
The 7 ancient seas. All right, you got Mediterranean and Black.
Yeah.
What else did you say?
Red.
The Red Sea.
And Dead.
Dead Sea is not one of them. The other 4, 1, 2. Oh, this actually only lists 6, and then they said the Persian Gulf counts as a sea for some reason.
Is it the Caspian?
That's fucking stupid.
Caspian is on there. Yep.
The Gulf of America should count as a fucking sea.
Here we go.
It's a Gulf.
Yeah, I love that shit. I'm not gonna front.
And then we got the Aegean and the Adriatic.
Oh,
those are that caps out
Adriatic.
Adriatic, yeah.
Mm.
Aegean Sea is by Greece.
Sounds like it.
Greece.
That's really funny. Adriatic. I would have thought Asiatic, like like the Middle Eastern, but I guess they got Med.
Adriatic
and the Dead.
Adriatic separates the Italian peninsula from the Balkan.
Ah, fuck.
It's also a Gulf. I don't know. I don't really know what classifies what, but it's a Gulf.
Today or tomorrow, I'm gonna test out force equals mass times acceleration on these fucking logs. Yeah, on these fucking logs.
Oh, nice. You gonna catapult them?
No, I'm using a fucking 4-pound hammer versus an 8-pound hammer to see if I can break them apart.
I thought you were talking about like logs. I was like, Jimmy, what the fuck?
No,
you're an officer. You don't need to be.
I'm gonna use the first force equation because I can't accelerate an 8-pound sledgehammer as fast as I can accelerate a 4-pound hammer.
True.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna see if I can get some use out of that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought you were just telling us you were gonna blaze logs again. I was like,
I never blaze logs
again.
Yeah, you did.
Again, you insinuating that come on, dog. I'm a naval officer. You got me
Jimmy,
fucked up.
Do I need to tell you about the fucking magically disappearing 400 gallons of water in the fucking aft sump? Because you and I both fucking know that story. Because you relieved me, then I relieved you in the morning, and my less than 100 magically became a 4, and then it magically disappeared.
It depends on what was going on with the shaft seals. You got to remember, if I was on the boat,
we were in dry dock.
Nah, there's no way. We didn't even use the damn song.
Because I literally faked a call to the fucking 98 wheeler to go pump out aft
98 wheeler.
That way I could
dog.
make the 400 gallons disappear.
Hey, shout out to Shop 98, man.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's smart, Joe.
That's why I remember
Looking
that.
out for
I was
everybody.
like, this is the dumbest. This is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what if they count it?
All right. Well, we can quick hit some current events since we're kind of already started. We got CNO got fired.
Yeah, I saw that.
No replacement yet. I don't think there's even been anybody proposed as new CNO.
Yeah, Miss Franchetti.
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 Yeah. You know what? I got a friend named Franchetti. But yeah, she had a really awesome service record.
Yeah.
Can't think of a reason why she would be fired outside of the things that we talked about, which was impossible for anybody. Other than the fact that she's a female, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, did they even?
Well, she hasn't. I don't even think she's been that long, has she?
True, she wasn't She wasn't in the role for very long in general.
Yeah.
And I mean, did they even give a reason? I don't think they did.
They just fired her.
Yeah.
Same thing they did with the general for the Air Force.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing, though.
Yeah.
Is Trump is better at doing that now than he was in his first term. In his first term, he would have said, "I'm firing her because of this."
Well,
that
Trump isn't doing it.
All sorts of like
it's SECDEF.
No, he's signing the executive orders to say.
No, these firings came from Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. I mean, it is obviously Trump is doing it. It was all part of the plan. And Pete Hegseth said some time ago about Brown, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, that he was only there because of the color of his skin. That was not involved in the firing, but Pete Hegseth did say that at some point. So the writing is pretty much on the wall there.
Well,
yeah.
The point I'm trying to make is that even just outside of these firings, in his second term, Trump is doing a better job of keeping his mouth shut where it behooves him. You know what I mean? If he doesn't say why he fired somebody, then nobody can say it was
because of anything
for a reason that's not good enough.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I think the first time around he didn't know, but this time.
And then in related news, the Undersecretary of the Navy is a former Navy diver. I think he's like a 25-year Navy diver. I think that's fine. I don't know much about him. At least he has experience. I'll say that. And the Secretary of the Navy nominee or appointee, I don't exactly know what status they're in right now, but just a businessman that was a Trump donor, no experience in the military. It seems like a shift towards trying to run the military like a business, which has been done before to dramatic failure. Other than that, I mean, there's no reason to appoint someone with no experience in the military at all to that role, but that's what's going on.
I'm wondering, did Sean Skelly get fired? I'm trying to see.
I don't know that name.
She was the Assistant Secretary of Defense of Readiness. Yeah, she got fired. She got fired, or maybe she left office on the 20th. She might have left office.
20th of February?
Yes. Or 20th of January.
Okay. Yeah,
so that's inauguration day, right?
Office. Yeah.
Yeah. Because more than likely she knew she was going to get fired. She is or was the highest ranking individual in the Department of Defense that is a transgender.
Oh, so yikes. Okay.
Yeah. So I met her at the University of South Carolina. She's a South Carolina graduate.
What was her rank? She a 1-star captain?
I think she was a full bird because she did 20 years in the service.
Oh, the pilot?
She was a flight officer. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Amber and I saw her do an interview around
red
that
hair.
time.
Red hair?
I don't remember.
I don't remember her having red hair.
It could have been someone else, but it was a full bird flight officer that we saw. So there's others.
I mean, she had been retired for.
Oh, okay. This person
for a minute. Yeah, no, she had been retired for a minute. because she was born in 66. So yeah, she retired in 2008. She was a commander when she was
gotcha.
When I don't know.
Yeah.
So
things are changing out.
Yeah, it is what it is.
We'll get into this more. So we're gonna at some point we're gonna spin up a history, submarine history, specifically nuclear submarine history podcast. And
that's my shit.
So when Robert McNamara was the Secretary of Defense in the late 60s and early 70s, he employed this same mindset of like, this should be run like a business. Can't remember. It was like system. He had some terminology he threw around, system processing or system, something like that. But anyway, it failed miserably. The U.S. Navy fell drastically behind the Soviet Union during that time. Intelligence was bad. Shipbuilding was bad. It failed in pretty much every aspect. And Robert McNamara, I don't really know the lens that he's viewed through in history. I don't know if he's considered a good guy or bad guy, but he was very ineffective as Secretary of Defense.
So I'm going to sound ignorant here, but what do we normally run the military as?
Well, it's not something that can make you money. It's like the post office.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
The point of the military is
like a nonprofit.
Yeah, sure. But
yeah,
it's not that you pay money in to get something out. What you get out is protection.
Protection. Yeah.
It's you're not supposed to try to not lose money. I mean,
that's not the point.
Yeah.
You can try to minimize how much money you lose, but ultimately you are losing money.
That's the point.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the point.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Because you're paying for something.
Well, it's honestly more of like an investment. The whole point of military is to like protect, especially the Navy, is like commerce and
very true.
Intercontinental and
and be able to blow up Russian oil pipelines if they invade an enemy country, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But and this administration as a whole is trying to run the government like a company, which I think people can freely be for or against. And I don't think there's anyone in the country that says that the government should be less efficient. Like everyone wants the government to be run more efficiently, and the military should be as well. But doing things like hiring someone with no military experience because they're a business person is not how you go about achieving that efficiency in the military. That's how you go about privatizing the military, which is already one of the big problems of the military, is that so much of it is privatized.
Yeah.
And you end up with these monopolies having on these government contracts. Elon Musk is being one of them.
Yep.
And there's no competition. There's no speed. There's no oversight. It's just they're the only ones. They're the highest bidder by a mile, or the lowest bidder by a mile. So they get all of them. And you see it impact shipbuilding capabilities and everything else you could possibly touch.
I mean, dude, talk to literally anybody who was ever in RPPO. Anybody who ever had to log into FedLog and just look at shit.
Yeah. Very true.
The amount of like $40 O-rings that I had to buy that fit like in the palm of my hand.
Everything's price gouged. Like insane levels of price gouging because they can.
Yep.
Like, and to be fair, that is part of what Robert McNamara wanted to try to get rid of. It just didn't work, which is kind of my point. Is like, go after those things, but running it like a business has not ever been an effective way to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's all I had for like Navy related.
Why do you think that is?
What do I think? What is?
Like, why can't the Navy be run like a business and be successful?
It's so much different.
The point of just fundamentally a business is to make money. The Navy, the military, doesn't make profit for itself.
Yeah.
It is to serve the interests of this country so we can do commerce, trade, international influence.
That's how the Navy makes money for the country, is by freeing the sea lanes and allowing commerce to happen.
And also spreading global influence. You send a fucking carrier strike group out to off the coast of country, whatever. Whether you do something or not, that's going to be impactful to the people that witness it and have to navigate around that type of thing.
Yeah, it's like how when you brought up to USPS, like USPS isn't designed to make money. It is to provide services where like private shipping companies will not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you live like out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere and UPS says, well, that don't make me money to drive all the way out there.
USPS always
does.
does last leg, always.
And they will ride up there on a fucking horse for you.
Yep. They will. Your mail will be delivered.
Yep.
And it's not a profitable venture to do so.
No, hell no. That shit gotta suck.
I just want to throw something out there, which I acknowledge to some people may seem like a radical belief, but I think that the entire point of the government is to provide services to its people. So you shouldn't expect to make any profit from any part of it. You should expect it to cost you money. That's the point.
I mean, the government makes money by people and companies paying taxes. That's
what I was about to say. That's the point of taxes.
Yeah.
It's supposed to go to them. And I mean, the fact that we're in such a deficit like we are is insane.
Except
kind of
the mint actually, like, other than literally, but it does actually turn
the
profit.
Yeah,
it does actually make money, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The mint. The mint.
If anyone's curious about, I'm not going to get into the weeds, but if anyone's curious about the deficit and the United States deficit specifically, you can look up an economist named
Steve Keen.
And essentially him and many other economists have run lots of models to show that provided that private banks are money market creators instead of just middlemen, which they are pretty clearly, deficit spending is actually the only way to continue to grow GDP infinitely.
Banks are not intermediaries. Banks lend and create money in the lending process, which the Bank of England and the Bundesbank both said back in 2014 and 2017, respectively. So I've just simply taken their lead as to what is the actual structure of the financial system. So having done that, let's just recalculate to go back to zero, and now let's run the model. Basic story, we've got a rising level of debt, but the difference is there's also a rising level of GDP and money creation, because loanable funds does not explain how money can be created. In the real world, when banks lend, they create money. So what's going on here is both government borrowing and borrowing by firms is not just increasing their debt, it's also increasing the money supply and therefore also increasing nominal GDP.
So deficit spending is actually a sound economic
process.
Yeah,
you're just talking about Keynesian economics, right?
Basically.
That's just the fundamentals of it.
But being in a deficit as a government is not inherently a bad thing.
No, it's
pretty
not.
much ever.
Yeah, it's not.
And again, the military is never going to be, unless, so the way that you get money from the military is stop spending so much money on the military, which that's fine. That's a whole different conversation than who you appoint to run the military in a certain way or branches of the military in a certain way. And in my opinion, people with no experience ever dealing with any portion of the military is always going to be the wrong choice.
Yeah.
Well, because you've read because right now we have a budget framework. We don't have a budget yet. We have 12 days to make the budget. We have a framework that says over the course of 10 years, our debt will grow up to 4 trillion, but our deficit can raise up to 4.5 trillion. I may have that backwards.
Okay.
Right. And that's saying up to, because since it's just a framework, nothing has been like put in stone.
Yeah, of course.
What is. And then obviously it's supposed to be pegged to like a 5 trillion difference. So if if we only raise it by 3, then the deficit can only raise by like 3.5 or whatever, which is either way self-defeating in that I guess we're supposed to be getting more efficient, but we're already saying, hey, the deficit's going to raise.
Right. And that's not bad is what I'm saying. Like it's not what they say they're going to do, but it's not bad.
No, but what I'm saying is when the rhetoric is we're going to right the ship.
Yes, I agree.
But also literally the first chance to make a monetary plan, we just said, oh, we're actually just going to raise the budget and the deficit. So we're just not doing what we said.
I think the difference is, right, like it's like by how much, right? Like, so like how much are you raising the deficit versus before, right? Because that's still efficiency in a stance, right? Like if I'm overspending, if I stop overspending by so much and I can't help but overspend, then
the United States undoubtedly overspends in the military without a question.
That's the whole point. If you are raising the deficit, your margin is getting wider.
Yes.
I mean,
both things are true.
I understand you're saying,
but in 10 years, like inflation, prices on things, all of that stuff has to go into that too.
Sure, I
Right,
understand
like-
you're saying like, oh, we are trying to limit how much the margin grows,
Yeah.
but that's still like
Hey, man.
It isn't what
they're
they
defeating
said
the
they were
whole
gonna
fucking
do, right?
purpose
Yeah.
of what
Yeah.
conservative fiscal responsibility is supposedly all about.
But has
Yeah.
never been, to be clear.
Yeah, it has not. But again, like the first chance you got, and we proved ourselves wrong.
Yeah, and I'm just curious. So when the committees get together to do budget hearings for the branches, and you have no CNO and a Secretary of the Navy who does not know anything about the Navy, proposing or testifying to Congress as far as this is why the budget needs to be what it's going to be. How the fuck do they know? He has no idea. How much does a submarine cost? No idea. How long does it take to build one? No idea. How many do we need? No idea. Like it's clueless.
Are we
And
going
so it's
back-
just going to be like, yeah, whatever you guys want to give us, we'll figure out sometime
how to spend
what
it.
to do with it. Yeah.
Have we gone back to our 350 ship rhetoric that we were doing?
I don't know if
last
that's been
year?
officially stated, but that was Trump 2016 standpoint was 350.
Well, yeah, I don't think they've said anything about that, but
I don't think so
wouldn't
either.
be surprised if they don't. Or sorry, I
They,
wouldn't be surprised
they
if they
shouldn't
do.
if the thought process is to increase efficiency and kind of shrink that part of the government.
Well, that's the thing. No one wants to shrink the military. They want to shrink military spending, and that's kind of it. But they still want more people, more ships, more presence, more of everything without spending more. But everything that they're doing is working against that end goal. Like, I don't know what recruiting. It looks like fiscal year 24 recruiting numbers for the Navy were good. We're not going to know the impact of these current changes until probably
it's going down.
At least the end of the first quarter.
It's going down. It's
I
going
so.
down. Yeah, just based on politics, right? Like a lot of people, like we talked about before, right? Like the people that join the military come from a certain background, right? Like,
of course,
those people currently, I would imagine, don't believe in the office right now, and that's tough to get behind.
There's going to be some of that.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happened with the Biden administration, right? Like we saw a decline when there was a loss of confidence too.
I
right?
mean, recruiting numbers have been short of goals for a long time now.
Yeah.
And it looks like FY24 was actually good in that sense. I don't know how they set the goals. But the things that they're doing that are removing people from the military and removing important people from important roles within the military, and then probably still wanting a larger Navy. I'll just talk about the Navy. Those two things don't work together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ever. And all they can do is say, all right, we're going to cast a much bigger net, or we're going to let people who were previously disqualified, we're going to let them in, or something like that, which again, in all of history has failed miserably.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, once people leave the military and they see that they can maintain themselves outside of the military, they're not coming back.
Yeah, getting people back in is always going to be harder. Getting people who want to join that are disqualified for some reason, getting them accepted is going to be easier, but it's very dangerous, and it's a super slippery slope. They did it in Vietnam.
Yeah.
In Vietnam, they dropped the aptitude requirement to join. I think it was the entire military, but specifically the Army. And everybody, it got them 450,000 more men or something like that. And that group of people died at 3 times the rate of everybody else because they were so much fucking dumber. It's like, dude, that's why we screen people. That's why there are disqualifying factors such as intelligence and drug use and blah, blah, blah.
Then we also just started drafting people anyway.
Yeah, eventually. Right.
I think for the Navy though, like a 15 to 20 range aptitude test, I think getting those people on ships.
You mean like scoring a 15 on the ASVAB?
Yeah, I mean the current.
Holy fucking shit! No way. Those people.
We've done it. We've
launched out of a catapult into a sun.
We've absolutely done it.
Just because we've done it doesn't mean we should.
At some point, I think we had it down to 10, dog. Like we were doing it. That's how we raised those recruits.
Point of even taking the test at that point, dude.
Yeah, you have to literally die and drool on the piece of paper to get a 15.
Well, if you taking the ASVAB, obviously, but like the ASVAB doesn't always replicate what a person's capability is and what.
Yeah, but
why is Joey laughing at me like this, man? I'm just telling you.
1.5.
I'm just telling you from the stance of a recruiter, right? I had a guy who couldn't get a 35 on the ASVAB, right? He was getting 31, 32, 33.
That's
right?
double what you're saying, though.
Yeah, that's still
sure, but he couldn't do math to save his fucking life.
Okay,
this man's a car mechanic,
right?
So you're telling me that this man has no use in the Navy because he can't get a 35 on the ASVAB?
No, I'm saying a guy who can't get a 15 is too fucking stupid to be trusted with anything. That's what I'm saying.
You gotta let me get to the point.
All right,
what I'm saying is I believe in the training process in the Navy. I thoroughly believe in that.
But that's not going to change. They're not going to change the amount of training because they let in a bunch of dummies.
No, absolutely not. But I'm saying that I believe that a 15 can go be a bosun mate on the ship.
Yeah.
Doris Miller.
But can a 15 be a bosun's mate on a ship in war and not be a fucking
okay? I'm about to give you one of the greatest war heroes that there ever was. Doris Miller never learned how to shoot a gun. Was a steward. Saved how many people? Went out there and hopped on a.
That's the dude in Pearl Harbor.
The gun never shot the gun before.
Yes, learning how to shoot a gun is not the same thing.
No, I'm learning how to shoot an aircraft gun.
I get you, but that's a hard skill. It's not a
hard skill. So how did this man who was a steward, who's uneducated, who literally was on ships boxing people, and that's the only thing that people thought he was good for is cleaning up shit and boxing people and cooking for officers?
Because this isn't the
managed to get on a gun and knock down airplanes.
Yeah, he didn't take an ASVAB.
Maybe he had a 99 ASVAB, but the reason he was a steward, Jimmy, we all know why.
Yeah, of course.
We know why he was a steward, but that's besides the point. I'm just saying that the fact of the matter is the Navy has a good training program and can push those people to the next level.
The nuclear Navy has a good training program.
I think the Navy overall has a good training program. There's some dumb people in the Navy, dog.
100 years ago, almost.
There's no one that's dumb enough to get a 15.
Yeah. I just want to put something in here for everybody who watching and may not know. The ASVAB is graded as a percentile. So
it is.
if you get a 15, that means that 85% of the people who took it
took the test that day
did better than you did. So you are.
It's okay. It's okay.
That's what that means. It's a percentile.
And to the folks out there getting 15s, right? Like for real, do not be discouraged. Keep pushing yourself. Get into the math. The reading.
Yeah, I'm not of the opinion that you can't learn the things that you need to learn to do better. I'm saying at that point you are a liability to the military.
Yeah. I just don't. The people that are liabilities to me is the people that come in there and get a foe. The foes is.
It's not that different, man.
That's still less than a 15.
You still got to do 9% better. That's a gap.
That's 11%, Jimmy.
Oh, 11%.
Jesus Christ.
That's what I'm talking about right there. But no, for real, man. Like I've seen people that like have the drive and like have skills to do.
But think about the things, the alternative things that could be done to increase recruiting instead of just let's lower the requirement.
Like raise bonuses,
raise pay, raise quality of life, have a clear message, advertise.
That's retention.
You know what my hot take is?
It's both. It's always both.
Nah, hell no, bro. They was giving nukes like $65,000 at some point when I was recruiting. Bro, when did they offer us that? At some point, EM couldn't even get a damn $30,000 reenlistment bonus, right? We were saying back then, like, you should spend it on the people that are already in because they're already trained. You already spent the money on them. They didn't do it, right? And
no, but they could. Increasing retention is always going to also increase. If you make changes that help you with retention.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that.
Always going to help recruiting because one, that's a more attractive life to live, and two, you need to recruit less people.
Yeah, but
instead, the alternative is like let's
attract the young mind when it comes to
let's get everyone
in
the military that we don't agree with socially out, whether they're an asset or not. and then let's figure out what to do to make up the difference. It's a crazy approach.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that that's a good approach at all. I'm just saying that I like the 15-20 range for ASVAB acceptance. That's all I'm saying. Shout out to all my recruiters out there, man.
Probably everyone has ever recruited would agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the other alternative is?
Go for it.
Recession.
Yeah,
When
recession.
no one
will
can't
help.
get a fucking job, you know what's always recruiting? The military.
Yeah. We always need folks.
You may not get a job that you want, but you can find something.
We'll be here. We'll make you a pack seaman. You can choose any job you want.
Next topic. Secretary of Defense orders U.S. Cyber Command to stand down on all Russian operations.
Nuh-uh. Is that real?
That's fucking nuts.
I didn't believe it at first. I was like,
oh my lord. They finna get in bed with this motherfucker?
At the very least, New York Times and MSNBC are also reporting it.
My
Can you say it again? Can you say it again?
What happened?
Yeah, say the order again.
The Secretary of Defense has ordered U.S. Cyber Command to stand down from all Russian operations.
Holy shit.
That is fucking nuts.
I did not see that. When did that happen?
So it
hasn't been official yet.
First report was earlier today, but it was on some random ass website called The Record. I was like, I've never heard of this fucking place. I don't believe this.
Oh my lord, Jesus.
But now, earlier,
did you see that
ago,
confidential documents are on their way to Mar-a-Lago now also?
Yeah.
Who?
What?
Boxes of classified documents
those
on their way to Mar-a-Lago.
Mystery boxes that were in his fucking bathroom.
Yeah, there's more headed that way.
There.
Yeah. It was photos of them loading onto a plane, and then they say stand down fucking cyber ops. That's insane, dude.
The thing that he was maybe potentially going to go to trial for,
right,
before he won the election.
Why are we getting in bed with our biggest adversary?
Well, did you see that even the Speaker of the House is like, yeah, we need to slow down on this fucking pro-Russia shit?
It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
What are we, a bunch of fucking communists? What is this shit?
About to be.
No,
to be clear.
No.
We are an oligarchy.
Yeah.
And the best oligarchy right now, we're an oligarchy. You can argue with me if you want.
Sure.
But the best oligarchy in the world is Russia.
Yeah.
And guess who knows how to spin up and maintain an oligarchy best in the world?
I would say they've been doing it longer than us.
So what you gonna do? I guess my thing is, what you gonna do? Fucking do this for 4 years and then we go back to a republic?
Good question.
Because how do you defeat the process that says that you can only do 2 terms as a fucking president?
You defeat it by doing everything else it says you can't do already.
You get some. Who is it? You get some fucking douchebag from Arkansas to propose an amendment that allows you to serve 2 consecutive terms.
But you don't have to do that. You just have to get the fucking.
No, that's something that's happened. It's a proposed bill. It's not.
But all you have to do is just break the law, and then you're in charge of the people that enforce the law.
Yeah.
All you have to do is not be willing to give up your power. And in this country, the way that it's set up, no one can make you, other than an armed militia.
Oh,
I mean, they already got people to storm the Capitol once. They'll fucking do it again.
Oh,
yeah, their side did. People.
Hey, look, that's what I was thinking. As soon as he said that, Joe, I was like, oh.
What's the fucking position? So, God damn it, I can't remember what they're called. The people that carry out
marshals.
Is it? No, it's not. Is it marshals?
What are you talking about? They remove officials from?
No. So if a court says, "Hey, you can't do that,"
a bailiff?
No. Bigger. It's bigger. And then a federal court says, "Hey, you can't do that," and then these people go and
that's a marshal.
Is it?
It's got to be
federal marshal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway,
it's a fucking badass.
Those people are DOJ, and the executive is head of the DOJ. And so the executive can say, no, you're not going to carry out that order. And then it's over. It's not being carried out.
Don't put no ideas out there, dog. This shit.
They know that, crazy. Jimmy. They know that.
Yeah, this shit is crazy, dog. We're living in some crazy times, dog. Like I really don't like that we're like backing down from my adversary and kissing his ass. And that shit grinds my fucking gears.
Our fucking Oval Office screamed at the president of Ukraine in his
know.
face.
I know. I saw it.
It's ugly.
It's fucking very ugly. I don't like America looking like a joke at any cost. Like that.
You see that So I don't want to hyperbolize the story because it's already been hyperbolized, but one of the suppliers of diesel to U.S. submarines said we're no longer gonna sell diesel to the U.S.
Yeah, a private company in Norway.
Yeah, it's HP.
The country of Norway has not taken a stance.
Correct, and that company had no firm contracts, but they have in the past been a very large supplier, and they said we're not going to supply diesel to the U.S. anymore.
I mean, that's their right as a company, right?
Yeah,
Norway
but I mean
Norway can't take that away from them.
That type of thing's going to keep happening.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you can't like, especially because we like, whether people recognize it or not, the reason why we spend so much in foreign policy and giving so much to foreign militaries like we do with even Israel and all these other countries is because we have treaties with these people.
Yeah.
When they go do something that we want them to do, we have to protect them because they're doing something that we asked them to do. Like,
or we just have to do. Or we just have to,
right? Because that's who we are. We're the good guy, right? Like we got to do it, right? Like it's just insane, dog. It's just nuts.
Like, principally, for the idea of Europe like contributing a bit more to defense and whatnot.
Yeah.
Just as like allies, whatnot. But I'm obviously not. This is not the route to do it.
Yeah. I mean,
just say fuck you to everybody.
The premise of what Donald Trump said last term, when he was talking about how the countries aren't paying their dues, it's not wrong on its face.
No, it's not.
But he didn't really understand the concept.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna break from current events. So, very excited to announce our special guest for tonight's episode.
Ooh.
You have to stop or my audio is not good.
That was good.
It's Mr. Mike.
What's up, Mr. Mike?
What's up?
I like Mr. Mike. That shit sounds good.
You can call me if you
I feel like someone could probably piece that together.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Mr. Mike was an officer of ours. Me, Jimmy. Actually, Jimmy, did you have overlap? Yeah, right?
Yeah, we
short overlap. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Me, Jimmy, and Joe on the Hampton, and we're gonna talk to him about what his life is like, and maybe we'll get into what you went to the academy, right?
No, I went to A&M.
Oh, okay, good. We don't have to talk about the academy then. Fuck.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Wait, I'm ignorant. What's A&M? Like Texas A&M?
Texas A&M.
A&M.
Okay.
What if he said Alabama A&M?
I didn't know if there were other places that
NSUs?
added A&M.
Do what?
Did you have to wear those gray NSUs?
The khaki ones, but yeah.
Okay, you wore khaki. Did they wear boots?
Yeah, the seniors wore boots. Yeah, I wore the boots.
Fucking nuts.
You gotta be a senior to get to wear
Or
the boots.
cadets, right? Yeah,
that's what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking crazy.
All right, Mr. Mike, will you introduce yourself and tell us about? Start from the beginning because everyone doesn't know you, obviously, but where you've been, what you're up to, all that.
Yeah. So basically, I went to A&M, commissioned, and then went through the whole pipeline, and then my first boat was Hampton, San Diego. It was a good time. It was tough. Definitely. I don't know. I feel like I struggled a lot because there were just like basic sort of things I didn't really learn that I feel like I should have learned already. But I learned.
You talking about like nuclear power things or driving ship things, or
more like I guess professional behavior.
Okay.
I mean, they had really high standards. Like, I see some of my current JOs, still kind of struggle with that kind of stuff. But whatever. It's just kind of part of the maturity process. But yeah, tough time there. But I didn't really. I kind of wanted to get out initially, but then COVID happened, kind of at the end of my tour. And I didn't want to
just like get out to like not having a job. So I decided to sign, and the only reason, or I signed only if they let me go to NPS in Monterey, so I get a free degree out of it, right? So
Nice.
yeah, I went to Monterey.
Can you say what the acronym is?
Naval Postgraduate School.
Hell yeah.
That was really awesome. It's everything it's talked up to be. It's never gets colder than like 40, never gets hotter than 70. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
nice.
it was awesome 2 years. Really loved it. So I got my master's in electrical engineering, and yeah, and then I went to SOAC. It was pretty chill.
What's that acronym?
Submarine Officer Advanced Course. So it's basically department head school, if you will. Most of SOAC is like ship driving and like tactics and
Real submarine shit.
yeah, tracking and shooting other submarines. That was pretty fun. My time on Hampton prepared me well for that. So some of the other guys that hadn't, I guess, done like the real shit or whatever, sort of struggled a little bit, but they did fine. I actually had orders to a fast boat to be the nav, which I wasn't super thrilled about. But then someone in my class, he actually like married a Chinese foreign national.
Okay.
And then his orders got changed, and they sent him to a decom.
Mm.
And I got his orders. I got his orders to
Nice.
Kentucky. So,
All right. I remember when the Kentucky pulled into San Diego once. Everyone was fascinated how huge it was.
Yeah,
It was gigantic.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. So I'm the WEPS. So
Sick
learning-
platform to be the WEPS of, huh?
yeah, the strat world is really
Hang on, what's the WEPS?
Weapons officer.
Okay.
And the Kentucky is a boomer.
Yeah.
Ballistic missile submarine.
Yeah. So
he's the weapons officer of some real fucking weapons.
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely it's very different sort of mentality from a fast boat.
Maybe we shouldn't. Yeah. All right. Go on. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, but it's been really good. Definitely challenging to learn all the new stuff, but pretty rewarding, I think. The triad is really, really great.
That's good.
I was just telling Jimmy about it. Like, there've been multiple times when I've like gone to a meeting or like showed up to something expecting to get like put on full blast, and from my kind of previous experience, but it like everything went like really smooth and like no one got upset, and I was like, wow, it's like I'm having to unlearn all these expectations that were like kind of
bad
insane.
behaviors.
Yeah, but it's been really good. Yeah, so I'm in Washington now. I'm in a house, which is awesome. I'm done with the apartment life. I feel like I deserve a house now. So
nice.
Yeah, I've been here about a year almost. Yeah,
I can tell by your furniture.
yeah, right. It's all downstairs.
Gotcha.
And it's all behind me or me, but...
So I wanted to ask you about something that you said where you kind of struggled with like expectations, professionalism, etc. on the first boat. Do you think that has to do with that you were from college and not some other commissioning source?
Let me think. Maybe. I mean, so
because you're from Texas?
No, I mean, I think there's just plenty of good. I think it's just kind of it's two things, right? So what part of it's sort of just personal, and part of it's sort of just part of it's just who my boss was.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, really, I think a big part of it was really who my boss was. They just had super high standards, and if I didn't think it was important, then I just I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. What has been your favorite spot professionally, not like geographically, but where have you enjoyed your time the most so far?
Well, it's almost apples to oranges to compare like shore duty to sea duty. So
Sure.
I guess I'll say for sea duty, definitely here it's been the most fulfilling professionally. Like I get a lot more time just teaching people, and I really enjoy that. I really do enjoy teaching people, and like it's definitely true. Like you show up as a department head, and like everyone thinks like anything you say is like, well, that's it. You know what I mean? Like
That's how the system is set up.
Yeah. So it's sort of dangerous, but it's also, I think, good.
Do you find your time as department head more fulfilling than as a JO?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Which sounds like super cliche, or like that's what you would want me to say if you were trying to get someone to stay in, but it's just true. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, mainly teaching people is probably the main thing. I mean, I give dozens of checkouts all the time. Like if you look in Gnosis, like it shows, how many I've signed, and it's like hundreds and hundreds. And
that would have gotten you a talking to before.
Yeah.
Well, is that like boat by boat that it's different?
What's that?
Well, it's just, so I just have so much stuff that I'm responsible the bottom line. And again, it's like all kind of small potato stuff, right? But like, for example, the most common interview I give is like for small arms or for, topside, whatever. They have to do all their interviews with me. And so it's not to say it's less important. It's just kind of happens a lot more, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I still have to do all the nuke stuff. I felt really proud because, well, I was talking to a lot of other department heads, Navs and Wepses on the waterfront, and I was like, how long did it take you to qualify engineering? They're like, oh, 10 months, 11 months, whatever. But the requirement is still 6.
You're right.
And so I was like, oh, I kind of was like, oh, I'll kind of take my time, not intentionally. It's just, we're really busy.
Yeah, JO qualifications are absurd.
Yeah. But like as qualifying 6 months as a department head, yeah, it was, I managed to do it, and the EDMC was really happy, but
oh, you're talking about they took that long to qualify their department head.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Department,
okay.
Yeah. Cause it's like, I get it. It's a requirement, but like, do we stand the watch? Like, not really.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I did it in 6 months or less than 6 months, and they were happy. So
let me ask you this. What was your favorite and least favorite part of your JO tour? Even if you have a specific thing, that's either way.
My favorite part was the friends I made along the way. Like still super good friends with Colton.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, like we're lifelong pals. Like obviously wouldn't have met him otherwise.
You guys showed up right at the same time, right?
He showed up a little bit before me.
Okay.
But yeah, least favorite part. Yeah, really, it was, just making some really dumb mistakes. I won't go into a lot of detail, obviously.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't.
Oh yeah, but like it, and I guess you guys were probably there, but basically it was just like it was stuff that other people were doing and just like not getting caught, but like
Sure.
I got caught, and like
that was how I cruised through SeaTour, was doing the same things everybody else, but not getting caught doing it.
Yeah, getting caught, it was just exceptionally painful.
Yeah.
I guess I grew from it. I still kind of have a grudge against the individual responsible, but
Sure. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was your favorite position to be in as a JO? Did you like being in the engine room? Did you like operating the scope? What was your favorite spot to be in?
That's a good question. Yeah, I would say
you were a pretty infamous scope operator, for what it's worth.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Everybody was just waiting to see what antics you would get up to on the scope when we were all watching.
Well, I know I'm famous for one thing.
That thing played a big part.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Were you the one?
Are you gonna say what thing?
I don't know. I don't think we should say the thing.
Yeah,
maybe we
can.
can.
Probably not. But
I'll tell you later.
Yeah. I took a picture of something like it was basically someone else's mistake.
That's right. Yeah,
and it was.
That's a good way.
Yeah. Okay, you remember it. Yeah. It's hard to say. I feel like it changed over time. I mean, I got really comfortable in the engine room. I got, I felt like I was pretty decent at the job. Obviously, when you have to like kind of leave that world, and they really are different worlds.
Yeah.
and kind of go forward and learn all that stuff. That was all hard because, I mean, it was new. So, yeah, I would say engineering, honestly. Like,
That was your favorite spot, really?
yeah.
Do you ever think that so the aft end or the forward end could learn something from the other side and improve?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, and I say this all the time, like, you know, barring like sort of immaturity or frustration over like, critiques suck, I get it. But like at the end of the day, the nukes, once they kind of get over that sort of initial immaturity or like whatever, like the nukes really do have a much better self-improvement, self-correcting attitude just in general. And that's something that that the forward rates could, I think, really take away from.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because
That's Dakota's world, actually.
Oh, you're really
Less forward, but non-nuclear. What would you say, Dakota? Self-improvement opportunities?
What do you mean?
Like that's
not
kinda
being a
stuff.
nuke?
No. Just like that's kind of what you deal with day to day is non-nuclear oopsies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I would say to add to that, one thing that the nuclear community could take from the forward end of the boat. I saw it very frequently on Hampton, and I didn't realize it because I was a part of it. But like the professionalism, right? Like the forward end of the boat has a lot more yes sir, no sir, very professional mindset versus how we act in the engine room. In the engine room, it's like, what do you know? And if you don't know anything, then you ain't got shit.
Right.
That's very true.
So
that is true. I think that's largely part because, well, I mean, the senior guy back there's a JO, and you got if he doesn't really do if you guys don't like him, then he's got a rough life.
Yeah,
fair enough. we always said of enlisted in the officers, you can be dumb or you can be an asshole. But if you're a dumb asshole, everybody fucking hates you.
Yeah.
And if you're a smart, nice person, you got the jackpot.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if you remember this, but one of the first, literally, I was like my first time back in the engine room. You were on watch.
I was.
Yeah. And I was like, I was like, I think I was like, how do I be a good watch officer? And you were just like, listen to what we say.
That's a good tip.
Yeah,
it is.
I mean, yeah, I didn't know anything back then, so I think it was good.
Yeah, the enlisted, even though what is it, cunning and deceitful?
Yeah.
The enlisted watchstanders back in the engine room really do know what the fuck they're doing for the most part.
I remember when I first got to the boat, I can't remember who was the watch officer, and they were standing watch, and Derek was on watch, and he was a reactor operator. And this motherfucker started talking, and Derek turned around in that chair. He said, "Shut the fuck up and read that book."
I was never that bad.
I was like, "Holy shit!"
There was one JO that was around your time. Actually, I think he might have been the one you showed up with, Mike. But I had one post-watch one-on-one with an officer, the engineering officer watch, and he said, "Can you please not tell me to shut the fuck up in maneuvering?"
I think I know who you're talking about.
You probably do. And I was like, "Yeah, look, I'm gonna work on that. But also, if you stop saying dumb shit, I will stop telling you to shut up."
Oh man. Yeah, you guys were tough. It was tough.
And you're right. That's the command. Like the command was the culture was bad, so we were bad, and the command had high expectations of everyone. So we kind of like maliciously had that same thing. Yeah. Like we're gonna have this. We're gonna have a high standard too because fuck you. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple more questions I wanted to ask. Do you guys have anything you want to make Mike answer for the good of the show?
Nah.
What do your plans look like for the future?
That's a good one.
Yeah. So right now, EXO is. I'm really not feeling it. It's just, man. It's just such a tough job. I did this. Unfortunately, not because I love the job, but because career opportunity and job security, I guess. Like I said, I've been pleasantly surprised, largely owing to the triad that my current job has been pretty good. I mean, I've already been at sea for a good amount of time, and it went pretty well. So, but yeah, like I said, EXO probably not in the cards. So it's either going to be, if there's a short duty that looks really appealing and like a cool place or something, then I would do that. If not, I'm just going to get out and look for jobs. Hopefully, the job market will look pretty good then.
You'll be fine.
I hope so. Yeah, mainly looking at like electrical engineer. Like I'll apply to places that like primary job or roles like for an electrical engineer, but also been thinking about going back to school. I mean, it sounds insane, but because I stayed in, because I did an apartment head tour, I get full GI benefits now versus officers. Officers normally don't get any GI benefits because obviously we already have a degree. So it's like, that would be unfair, I guess. So, but now if the officer's in for 10 years, then you get full GI benefits. So
that's cool.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It depends a lot on like sort of what my life looks like outside.
Would you just go further into the same realm, or would you branch out? And
most likely I would stay within electrical engineering. So looking at like maybe a PhD program, or I'm really interested also in machine learning, which is like a huge overlap between electrical engineering and computer science. So looking at maybe some sort of computer science master's or something.
Cool.
But yeah, either that or a job. If I find a cool job, then I'll just go with that. But yeah.
What do you think has been the biggest difference between I don't want to say good and bad, but triads that you like versus the ones that you maybe didn't? Or commands. I'll just say commands, not necessarily on the boat, but
the first thing that comes to mind is like understanding, like just having a good understanding about what your immediate reports, and for the triad, obviously I'm thinking captain mainly, like having a good understanding of what for the captain, the direct reports are, mainly the department heads, right? So having a good understanding about like what their time management looks like and how to best utilize that, or like help themselves, if that makes sense. So for example, the bad example, like on the previous first boat, was just like, man, every tiny thing was a priority, and it was like if this small bad thing happened, it was like the end of the world, or like we had like a command level critique for it or something.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was just like it was and I saw, and like I'm actually, it's kind of crazy, but I'm actually still good friends with the department head that I primarily worked for up forward. It was the nav, and he was hard to work for, but I saw it in him, like it really, drove him nuts, that aspect of it as well. So it wasn't like,
it almost seems like no matter how much resistance there is, it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That you can have as many good people as you want below the top 1 or 2, and it just is useless.
Yeah.
It's because Hampton was cursed.
Yeah, Hampton never improved. It didn't matter how many people changed out. It was just always bad. It's just wild.
But like in like a opposite, like a good example, like on my last underway, I had like a big inspection coming up, like for my department, and I was like, still standing a bunch of watch, and like basically the captain came up.
Talking about like off to the deck.
Yeah.
Watch? Yeah.
The captain like basically like came up with like a officer who was like not on watch, and he basically was just like, hey, you're gonna stand this watch now, and I'm gonna like teach you a bunch of. So he was like taking the opportunity to like teach a JO a bunch of stuff, and he was like, hey, Weps, like you're off now, go work on your preps for your inspection.
That's dope.
And I was like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah.
How is this happening? And it just like made my life, like I finally got sleep and like was able to actually get work done that I needed to do. So it's just like, he's like the triad is like really in touch with what I need to be doing, and like, oh, I actually have responsibilities, like I have to stay on watch, and I can't do every single thing perfectly if you don't like take away some stuff over here, you know what I mean?
There was definitely like a vicious cycle of, we're not going to allow you the time or opportunity to accomplish those things until it's an emergency.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, you're putting off other shit, and now that's an emergency, and it's kind of never ended.
And we're also mad at you because it is the last minute and it's not fucking ready.
Yeah.
The amount of times I had to go into shift work just to accomplish maintenance, I mean, it was insane. Like, why can't we do this better?
Yeah. Part I don't put all of it on here, or like part of it's just like, and I'm sure you guys all agree, but there's just like too many requirements. It's just kind of, that's a big Navy cultural thing. But yeah.
Speaking of that, how, if any way at all, have you seen the Navy change, or maybe just the submarine force change over the past 10 years?
Well,
it is a slow changing organization. It might be the same as it was.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's close. It seems minor. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But like, they're actually like there's all these like JO schools that they just like waived for me, and they're like, we can't afford to lose you or whatever. And like now they're taking that more seriously and like actually sending the JOs to schools. I haven't really seen whether that's like actually helpful or actually like hurtful, because like the boat needs whatever. I don't know. I'd say maybe for boomers it's easier because like we have more time like away from the boat. Like if the boat's not in port, it's like, well, what are you gonna do, you know? So maybe that's helpful, making those requirements actually not waiverable. Or trying to think what else. Nothing comes to mind.
Did you see any difference in all right, two things I want to ask you about specifically. Has the level of what we would probably call hazing changed at all? And the second thing is, do you think that the general mental toughness or maybe mental acuity of the general submarine population has changed at all over the past decade or so?
Tough question, because again, different platforms, different sort of vibe. But I would say,
I mean, if you think back to time on Hampton, we're talking about dink study that happened 6 to 8 p.m.
Was it really that late?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nubs don't eat dessert. Officers were kind of shit on all the time. You know, whether you were dink or not dink, or good or not good.
Had the motherfucker wearing boots on the boat.
Yep. If you were dink, you were wearing boots. So like that was kind of the norm and broadly accepted then. And again, that is going to be command specific for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then the only reason I ask about like mental toughness is because of the push for warrior toughness and unwavering mentality. All that stuff kind of happened
near the tail end.
Yeah, about the time we were getting off the boat. And so I just wonder if you see any impact of those things at all. That anti-hazing was huge while we were in. And so it started to kind of tail off over our time just in that short 5-year window. But
yeah, I guess I would say I've definitely seen a lot more sort of, I think part of this program, or like a bigger program called Get Real, Get Better.
Yeah.
I think I have seen some positive things come out of that. Like people take what you're saying seriously and like they actually do something about it. This is probably more command specific, but yeah, our dink study was 16 to 18, and they they were all upset about that, and they changed it from 14 to
shit. All right.
Yeah,
there
so
we go.
it's within normal working hours now.
Yeah.
So
okay, that's something.
So what, like if you're a dink, you get taken away from normal working responsibilities specifically to go study / get checkouts.
Let me tell you why that's a good thing. It'll push your division to qualify you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, hey,
Sorry,
I need this
I was asking like to clarify what that
Okay.
yes.
meant.
Yeah, that is excellent.
Yeah, we used to at some point when I was on Dink Study when I was junior, you had to like if you got a certain like 2 weeks Dink or something like that, then you had to bring your CDAT with you,
Oh
right?
my God.
And then if you got certain amount Dink after that, then you had to bring the LPO with you. And then after you
Right,
got
I
certain
remember when
Dink
they
after
tried
that,
that.
you had to get a chief with you, right? Like
Yeah.
it
Oh,
became
they
bad.
do that now.
Yeah,
That's good.
but
It's
it's
a good
during
thing.
normal working hours
Yeah.
makes sense to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the chief, every day between 14 and 16, one of the chiefs that's like in that department. For some reason, they break it up by department. Like,
That's fine.
this week it's engineering is
Okay.
like Dink Study, and then like next week it's weapons or whatever.
Yeah.
But then the chief goes down and like makes sure they're studying. So that I think that's overall good. Definitely, again, sort of a cultural command difference. Like there's sort of less, I would say, less accountability
Oh, interesting. Okay.
on my current boat than like, I don't know. There's like I hardly ever see counseling chits. I hardly ever
Right.
see, and maybe that's a indicative of like a policing stuff at the lower level, which might be good.
Yeah. True.
But do you see was that a corresponding amount of like things that would deserve?
Yeah, like did performance
Such a-
increase?
Performance is good. I guess what I'm saying is like, yeah, we do a better job of lower level accountability. Yeah, I guess that's a better way to put it.
That's good.
There's some isolated events or examples or whatever. Like, I guess there was one thing recently where someone got basically, they were so dinked they basically got adcept eventually.
Yeah, we saw a couple of those.
Oh, really?
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but the part of the problem, or that was the reason why we started sending the chiefs down to make sure Dink Study was actually happening, was because like there was like absolutely no record, there was no counseling chits, like there was nothing on this guy.
Right.
And a certain individual was like, hey, like you can't just, like you have to have evidence of poor
Yeah.
performance. And so, yeah.
That's good. That's all good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I like how you mentioned get real, get better. I like get real, get better too. I actually use that kind of ironically at work.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's almost like it just reminds people that like we're here to do a job, I think. And like I'll come up to somebody and be like, hey, we need to be doing this. We could be doing this. And they kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I was like, hey, are we supposed to be getting real, getting better right now? And you would be surprised how often that they're like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we'll put in some extra work. But like it almost like, I'd say it to be kind of funny, kind of a smart ass, but it gets people to go that extra step of like, yeah, okay, we're trying to get better here. So
what is that program?
It was started by Admiral.
It's probably only 7 or 8 years old now.
Yeah, it's not very old.
I haven't seen any commercials about it, so
No, there wouldn't be commercials for it.
No, this is an internal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
like
it's like, yeah.
Also, real quick, are you drinking from like a blender? What is that cup that
It's
you
a French press.
Oh, French press. Okay.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
convenient.
he doesn't have
Water
any
out-
glasses in his home. He just moved in a year
I
ago.
got one there.
Water straight out the French press.
I love it. I love it.
So
I'm
if
lazy.
you go to there's a link on My Navy portal. It says Get Real, Get Better is a Navy-wide call to action that empowers leaders at all levels to embrace proven leadership and problem-solving practices to drive exceptional performance. By fostering a culture of
Hell yeah.
ownership and innovation, GRGB helps bridge the gap between high-performing teams and those needing improvement. So it's basically like leadership skills and other like best practices that you could put in place to blah 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 blah.
Yeah, a lot of the Get Real, Get Better stuff felt like it was inherently existent in the nuclear navy, and it was a way to broaden some of the principles of the nuclear navy into navy-wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it also, I could be wrong about this, but I think it also might function as like a I don't know if lifeline is the right word. Or
There's definitely a mental
basically-
health aspect of the program.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but also like a pathway or like a opportunity to communicate problems like that otherwise wouldn't have a solution, like otherwise wouldn't have exposure or wouldn't have what's the word?
Visibility.
Visibility, right? So it's like, hey, this thing's happening and we don't know what to do about it.
Mhm.
And some 4-stars like, oh, like I think I know how to help that, and you know, stuff like that.
Cool.
I've seen it make a big difference in like ownership responsibility, because that's a big thing. Ownership was a watchstanding principle for us nuke sub guys. When I got to the service fleet, it wasn't.
Oh, really?
It's a watching
So
principle for nukes.
So it
For
is
nukes.
now.
Yeah.
It is now.
It is now, but before it wasn't. They basically stole the watchstanding principles and added self-sufficiency to it, and they call it SSOPs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sound
Yeah.
shipboard operators.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of all in the wake of the 2017 collisions of
Yeah.
in the Pacific.
Yep.
But yeah, I see it affecting the ownership. I can see the ownership rising in
Yeah.
my circles.
Nice.
Mike, I have 2 more questions that I want to ask you before we go. And feel free anybody else to jump in. But the first one is, would you have gone non-nuclear if you could do it again?
No, I'd say probably not. You know, it's kind of like a lot of difficult things. You look back and you're more grateful for them in the past. So I know that nuclear is way harder, and for good reason. So I'm still in it a little bit. I mean, obviously my geo tour is behind me, but I'm definitely like, it's helped me grow a lot as a person. I know that's like super cliche, but it truly has.
I think that's probably true for everybody on this podcast. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, in ways that I never would have known were possible. Was there a second part to that question?
I didn't ask it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, the second thing is just if you were talking to your younger self or someone who's thinking about like doing NUPOC or wants to go become a nuclear officer, what advice would you have for them?
Yeah.
Actually, I have one more. I have a more fun question after this one.
Okay, I'll think about that one.
Okay, let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Of the commissioning sources, is there one where it generally produces coworkers that you dislike more often than others?
Yes.
That's not a pointed question at all.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, probably the academy.
I
don't know. There's just something pernicious or holier than
pretentious for
thou.
sure.
Pretentious, yeah.
It's crazy because I was in school with a bunch of academy folks, and that was like the first question I asked them. I was like, like, are you guys like that? Like, are you guys pretentious? Like, do you feel like you're better than everybody else? And obviously the answer was no.
Yeah.
And like it showed, like they were really awesome people. I'm really close to them now, but like, that initial thing is like, damn, these people think that they're better because they went to the academy. And then like, not only did they say no, but then they also showed like, hey, like the academy was the only school that I could fucking get into. Like this shit was not like some like, crazy, extremely hard thing to get into. Like, yes, there's some requirements, and yes, there's some things on that list that that are not normal, but they're not terribly hard to get. Like one of the things is like you have to get a letter from your senator recommending you. Like
I got that. I didn't get all the way in.
Yeah, the senator will stamp that shit and send it on, right? Like he's not thinking about that.
They need
shit.
Numbers.
Yeah, like what am I gonna say?
Actually,
No to this kid?
It's harder to get than you think. They can only give 2 per year.
Oh,
really? Wow.
Yeah. They can only get. I had to do a full interview with like a board of people, and it was like really intimidating.
Whoa.
But
I've sat in on academy interviews. And
I feel like
that
Texas
one was
is
not
really
crazy.
big.
Well, every
Do
state
what?
has 2 senators, right?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a congressman can give them 2, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're pretty. At least maybe not all of them are that selective, but the guy that I got, Ron Paul. was
Oh,
the guy.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
Was he in
dope.
the board?
he
That's
was
pretty
not
dope.
in the board.
Oh,
Sadly.
damn.
But yeah, there was like 4 people, all in their middle of their career, and it was intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's pretty tight.
they
Yeah,
were.
that'd be
I remember one thing they asked. They were like, "What do you want to do in the Navy?" And at the time, I was in high school. I didn't really know, but I think I said pilot, and they were like, "Oh, does the Navy have a flight school?" I was like, "I'm pretty sure." They were
Trying to
just
trip
trying
you
to
up?
they were trying to trip me up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all those
Bastards.
aircraft carriers for.
yeah.
Yeah, all right. Academy grads suck. Got it. What advice?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to?
There's occasional really good ones.
No,
I don't
Yes,
know-
of course.
there's some good
yeah.
guys, definitely.
All right. Well, the other question was, what advice would I give to, or no?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. To your
Yeah.
younger self or someone in your position.
Who was like going subs?
Yeah, like I want to go NUPOC or I want to be a nuclear officer. They want to go down that path. What would you tell them?
Yeah, I would say it's tough because there's been so many times where I've said, I wish I hadn't picked this career path.
Yeah, same.
Or, yeah. I would say, and then again, it's tough. It's definitely like a lot of people told me it was going to be hard, but it's definitely like a lot harder than I thought they said. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I would say you really have to be committed. Like it's not something you should go into lightly. Definitely, yeah. If you get a handle on like, why you're doing it, I guess like the why you're actually getting into it. Thinking about just like pondering that early probably would help you further down the line. Whereas like I've seen some officers like, they didn't really take the cause seriously, and that makes them suffer for it.
That was actually part of our I can't remember if it was part of our check-in or part of our submarine qualification, but we had to write a letter to the chief of the boat about why we're doing what we're doing individually. So
yeah, I never had to do that, but like I think I didn't really grasp like how important what we do on a day-to-day basis was until I went on that 2014 deployment.
Well, I just
And,
mean
like,
they were asking us on a personal level. Why are you
Okay.
doing what you're doing? Yeah.
Mm.
So it
Yeah.
kind of brought that.
yeah,
to focus.
I mean, they always. I remember some advice that somebody gave me is like when you accomplish the why behind what you are here for, then that that basically gives you the freedom in yourself to leave, right?
Yeah.
Once you check that goal off, like that's the thing, right? Like you're like, hey, I'm good now. I feel satisfied and I can go. I think that's huge.
Mike, what do you think is the most valuable skill to have coming into becoming an officer, nuclear or otherwise?
I would say, a couple of things are coming to mind. The ability to rapidly learn, but more importantly,
shit.
yeah, it's like a no-brainer, right? But like
Diarrhea of knowledge forced down your throat.
Yeah. Like really like having open ears to like everything that's going on so you can really pick out, because like it's information overload, right? It's just totally a waterfall. And if you aren't able to quickly determine, which things are important, like, and which other noise to ignore, it's easy to get bogged down, like, studying stuff that's just not important, or like worrying about, doing parts of your job that's like, okay, this is way less important than this.
Right. No one's going to care about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the ability to prioritize, and like, there's a lot of implicit stuff that no one tells you, hey, you need to do it like this or do it like that. But like, I guess, that skill is like interpreting your environment to understand what's important.
Yeah. Getting the signal out of the noise. That's a good tip.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Is there anything you want to bullshit about? Talk about?
So you guys tell me about what you guys are up to. I know Jimmy, you just commissioned, right?
Yeah, I commissioned as a SWO, no longer nuclear of any kind, which makes me sad. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm embracing the new journey.
Hey,
So I just
that's cool, man. No, that's interesting that you bring that up. Or well, it's kind of related, I guess. Anytime someone mentions a SWO, on in the submarine force, everyone's like, SWOs, whatever. I do not see it that way. I think so. It's good to have a certain amount of professional pride about
yeah.
being a submariner. And hey, you still are a submariner. You'll have the silver. You'll have
Oh yeah,
both.
no,
You'll have
absolutely.
silver.
Hold that shit with me.
So yeah, so my point's just that I think submariners can sometimes be a little bit too proud. Like,
Yeah.
SWOs, like they're hard worker, So
Yeah, no, I had that thought process coming into it, like this shit's beneath me. I was very upset about it. But I got humbled really fucking quickly. The one thing that we don't do in the submarine community is fucking rules of the road. And God, that is a humbling experience. That
It's
shit
tough.
is crazy. Yeah, the nav is basically the only guy on the boat that really knows them.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Like I remember our nav, he used to be on the bridge like shouting at sailboats because they were like blocking him on the way
Right.
out. And I didn't understand it, right? Like, and he's like, that sailboat's not supposed to impede me. And I'm like, so just drive around it. But like in reality, the sailboat has more maneuverability, so he's supposed to not be in your fucking way. So it's pretty crazy, but I'm excited for it. It is a lot of work to be done on the service side of the house that I just did not realize before. And I think because we get trapped in a tube, like we don't think that anybody else has it as hard as us. And that's a part of it. But we also have a lot of pride in what we do. And I still think that submariners are the best thing in the Navy for sure.
All right, what about you guys? What are y'all up to? Kenny?
I got out. I
got out hard.
I got out hard.
We're in that fire trainer, right?
Yeah, I went from the Hampton to the submarine firefighting trainer in Groton. For some reason, they have a nuke ET billet, but I did zero nuke ET work. I didn't take a single continuing training exam. Didn't open an RPM for the 3+ years I was there. It was very cool. Shore duty, I met a lot of good people there. A lot of very good chiefs there.
Nice.
And then I just got out from there. I kind of fell into a job in a family business that I didn't really know existed. Didn't know existed at the time. And so I do that. I do that now. And I wrangle these fucking cats to run this podcast every couple of weeks when we can make it happen. And this has been nice. I've talked about this plenty on the show, but when I got out and kind of settled down, I felt this like purposelessness of, especially in my job, where I was like, oh, this shit doesn't matter at all. I have nothing, no fulfillment whatsoever. And that kind of fucked with my mentality a little bit. And having the podcast and talking with everybody on a periodic basis about random shit, Navy shit, whatever, is pretty cathartic. And it made me feel a lot better about where I was. So that's what this is all about.
Awesome.
Joe?
I went to repair over in Charleston after the boat. Got out of the Navy from that. Transferred over to the Air Force Reserves, which I'm in now.
Nice.
I work at fucking desk job, so infinitely easier now. And now I'm just a full-time student at a college of Charleston.
Oh, nice.
For computer science.
Badass.
Dakota, you want to talk about your path?
Sure. I'm currently trying to do anything I can to hold on to my job.
He's a Fed.
I work on the civilian side of the house, which is great because I still get to, feel like I'm contributing to whatever it is. But they put a thing out to recall all the remote workers. And it doesn't seem to matter to them, performance or cost or anything. It's just you can't be remote. So the good people that I'm working with are doing everything they can to try to get me into a local place where I am here. But there's a chance I may have to move back to San Diego if I want to keep my job or start looking for new work, which sucks because I really, really love this job. And I work with some really, really amazing people. So that's on the forefront of my mind. But I work I'm working on the surface side and just as a civilian for the type commander there in San Diego.
Nice,
Hell
cool.
yeah.
Hope you get to keep it, man.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, cool. Mike, thank you very much for joining us. I would love to have you back on anytime you want. I know that we can't always say the things we want to say, of course.
Yeah.
I appreciate your insight and keep doing what you're doing. And if you ever want to come back on, just ping me and we'll get you back on whenever.
Yeah, man. Sounds good.
Cool. All right. See you guys in a couple weeks.
Like and subscribe.